we've kind of been building to this moment for a little bit, getting this fight booked, but now that it's actually on the books, you know that you got a date, you got an opponent. How does it feel?
It feels good, you know. It's good to get back in there, good to get back in training camp. Training just to train is never the same as training with a purpose and training with an opponent.
Yeah. Talk about how you arrived here. I mean, you were evaluating a lot of options, you know, looking at potential money fights, good opportunities for you. How did you get to the point that you said, this is the right fight?
You know, like I said earlier this week, you know, certain fights that I think cement my legacy. Obviously, fighting Wonderboy again, maybe in the future fighting Robbie Lawler again, fighting one of the Diaz brothers, maybe Conor, maybe Bisping, and definitely Georges St. Pierre. If I can sustain victories against those guys, I'm a 100% a Hall of Famer. So I knew the fight against Wonderboy would take place. I didn't know that it was important to necessarily have it run it immediately right back. Thought it was a good fight. I don't think it was as close as everyone wanted it to be. Everyone was in emotion and in the moment. It was great. Everyone was on their feet. But at the end of the day, I can look in the mirror and say, hey, I feel like I was victorious in that bout, and I can move forward to the next chapter and take on a Damian Maia or whoever they had next for me.
How do you approach the rematch? I mean, knowing that it does seem like you won the fight the first time around. I know, the draw was what was issued, but I mean, can you rely on the strategy, the tactics that you had the first time around? Do you feel like you have to switch it up and surprise them a little bit? Yeah,
you know, some of the tactics that I used in the fight weren't really a part of the game plan. So we probably, when I say we, I hate when fighters do that. We always say we. We the only ones. I'm the only one in that fight, but we always say we. The game plan that we had wasn't really executed the way that was planned to do. I went out there, I fought well, I had great moments in the fight, he had great moments in the fight. There's things that I planned on doing that I didn't do. So I can now bring those things into the game plan, and I also get to continue and expound upon that performance. I get to train more with people in his world and learn it even better. So for him, it's easier for me to learn how to defend and neutralize his striking than it would be for him to learn how to offensively wrestle me or defend my takedowns.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about that. Do you think it'll be easier, a little bit easier the second time around? Because I think one of the unique things about him is he does bring such a unique style and, you know, an attack way, that sort of thing. I mean, is it easier now that you've seen it for 25 minutes?
I mean, I wouldn't say easier. You know, at the end of the day, I think you can always do better in the next fight. I think he's probably going to want to throw more kicks and feint more and utilize some more of his striking to be more aggressive. So I got to expect him to, I got to leave room for growth for him as well. Now, granted, like I said before, just with striking and wrestling is such a different monster, you can't bridge the gap of high-level wrestling that quickly. Striking, you can. With the wrestling mentality, you can at least build up a strong defensive base where you're not getting hit with every single kick. If you remember the fight, he didn't really kick me that often. And every fighter before me, you know, he was able to, you know, really confuse him. They were blocking the kicks incorrectly. And it's not incorrect for Muay Thai, but it's incorrect for his style, kicks that are wrapping around your neck and hitting you in the back of the head. So with that said, that's all in the back of my mind. I put myself in the best situation. I got the best training partners for this fight. And, you know, I just don't think he's going to have someone that can mimic me.
And of course, I do have to ask you about your comments that you made yesterday. I just want to ask you about the genesis of where that came from. You know, the issue of race maybe playing a role in how you're promoted or other fighters are promoted in the UFC. Can you just talk about, is that something that's been weighing heavily on you? And is it, was it maybe just a moment, or is that something that you feel really strongly about?
You know, it's something I feel strongly about because I think about Martin Luther King. I think about, Muhammad Ali. At that time, they didn't know they were going to be public figures. They didn't know they would be people that you remember down the road. But if you think about it, I've beaten so many guys who have great brands and great reputations. How do you beat that person and technically consume their talent and consume their power, and then you still are this fighter, that's not a high-profile fighter? Carlos Condon, Robbie Lawler, Paul Daly, Josh Koscheck, even you can even say they're competing against Wonderboy. How do I have to continue to excessively prove myself and always be the underdog? I don't get the respect that I deserve, and that leads me to believe that maybe it is a color issue. You look at guys like Demetrius Johnson, who's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Why isn't he on the largest pay scale? Why is it people that aren't even champions that are making more money? I think it's embarrassing that fighters in our generation, it's not the promotion, don't get me incorrect. I'm not saying the UFC and it's such a huge conspiracy, but the mindset of our fans, we indirectly make preconceived notions about certain fighters. Tyron has all this muscle and he should fade out, in the later rounds, and I did the most damage in the championship rounds. So I just think that we subconsciously have these opinions and we don't even know we have them.
You also brought the fans into it.
Yeah.
You think the fans, the UFC fans, have a racist bent to them?
I see what you're trying to do to me, brother, and it's not gonna happen. Not today. I think the fans are great. I think the fans are human, and humans have the ability, and they have their own. Their own mind. They can choose. It has nothing to do with sport. If someone doesn't like a person because of their skin color, it don't matter if you fight or if you deliver mail. They're gonna have that opinion. What I'm saying is that our fans, they're sound bites. At times they're great, at times they're amazing, but if you look at the individual that's behind the desk, that's typing and, oh, you need to train this way, you need to fight this person, how much time are they spending on their life and their purpose and their journey and being successful in their, their respective field? So I don't say MMA fans are racist at all. What I say is that fans are opinionated expressively because we're the only professional sport that give them that access. So these people already have these ideas in their mind. It might be positive, it might be negative, but since we give them so much access and we sit here and do these scrums and we go walk freely through the MGM Grand or whatever hotel and they can shake our hands, take pictures, we have these long lines of free autograph signatures for these guys. We give them that platform and now they feel like, hey, I bought a pay-per-view, so I bought a share in Tyron Woodley Fighting LLC. And now I own a piece of your company. Since I bought one pay-per-view, I should tell you how you should fight, who you should fight, when you should fight, and when it's time for you to get a big money fight. And that's really what I was leaning towards.
Do you think you give some of the keyboard warriors too much credence in what they say and in reacting to some of the garbage that they say?
No, I feed it to them. It wasn't an accident. My interviews weren't by accident. My sound bites I gave weren't by accident. I gave 4 or 5 statements that I know that are headlines by themselves, and that's on purpose. You know, I'm in the business of promoting myself because I'm my own fighter. This is my career, and nobody's gonna look out for me better than me. So I did it on purpose. Whether you hate me, whether you want to see me win, whether you think I'm the best welterweight in the world, whether you think freaking Wonder Boy's about to spin and kick my head off my neck, you're gonna watch me fight, and that's what it's all about. Going out there, doing what I do, fighting for my family, fighting for God, fighting for the young kids that need some inspiration. And then on top of that, I guarantee you a lot of those fans who want to hate me so bad, they don't know me. And once you get to know me a little bit better, those people start to appreciate it. And that's why I do my series. You guys can go on YouTube, check out the Champ Life, Champ Camp. It's an unfiltered version of me. If you really want to hate me after you know me, I'm good with it.